Sunny and windy tomorrow. 70 in Anaheim, 68 in Long Beach, 68 in Woodland Hills, 68 degrees in Burbank. KFI is the talk station that does live local news on the hour, on the half, when it breaks, and anytime online at KFI AM640.com. I'm Terry Rayomer, KFI News.
KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio. It's the John and Ken Show. John Cobelt and Ken Shampoo.
And we will eventually get up there. What are we going to put up with the potholes? We're going to put up some addresses for people to check on?
We'll put up some of the pages. And, I have this thing, and maybe we ought to hold off a day because I had an idea. I had an idea that maybe people could email us or maybe email another address. Don't email anything right now. This is just off the top of my head. And you'll win a pothole. We'll have the promotions people award a pothole to you, and then you get to go
and check on it.
And every day we'll have people report, do a little 60-second where they call in and say they found the pothole and it's filled, or there never was a pothole, or this is a scam, whatever it is. I think we could do something. Like, every day we'll spotlight one listener, one pothole, and we'll award them the potholes.
But we're starting with that suspicious 58,000 list he gave us, which is a small 5% of the total.
Look, unless I got documentation for 1 million potholes and then we do the random sampling, I don't believe it. We're dealing with Tony Villar here. 58,000, I assume these 58,000 have been addressed. Some of them may have eroded away since they were filled.
Right. He wouldn't bring us.
No, the 58,000
addresses.
The other 942,000. Well, come on. I didn't fall off the turnip truck yesterday. But no. But we'll
about 10 years ago.
We'll do a random check on these 58,000. We'll come up with something.
All right. Now, what we are presenting is the hour of election rage and jubilation. We'll reserve one line for people who really just want to stomp on it. Now, it could be because you're just thrilled that Obama won. We'll give you an example of that in a moment. Or say you just want to stomp on those gay people.
That's
right.
Prop 8, yeah. You're really happy that you're forcing thousands of
that the children are saved
of government-sponsored divorces in the gay community.
Or for some reason you like those bond measures that passed. God help us, more borrowing. Thanks for that.
And maybe if somebody could explain why they voted for Measure R to raise the sales tax a half cent in L.A. County, why'd you do that? How damaging do you think it's going to be to a car dealership in L.A. County?
2/3 of the voters did.
Yeah, seriously, what goes on in people's heads? Bonds are borrowing. Let me repeat. Bonds are borrowing. And the state can't even find anyone to lend them money anymore. They can't. And then when you pile up all this borrowing, you've got to raise taxes to pay for the payments. Do you understand this? But maybe I'm talking to the same people who got those dopey adjustable rate mortgages that they didn't calculate on. By the way, the other day, we did a mortgage refinancing, because we're moving.
Yes.
And the lady brought in the 16,000 pages of paperwork. But I said, show me the page where it says how many years, how much money am I borrowing, what the interest rate is, what my monthly payment is.
Is this a fixed rate mortgage you took?
It is a fixed rate mortgage for a fixed number of years.
All right.
Just a regular old-fashioned.
Not an arm.
Not an arm, not an interest only.
Not a leg.
By the way, there's nothing wrong with interest only. There's nothing wrong with arm as long as you understand it and know that things will change.
And you can afford it.
But the thing is, I found the page because I asked for it. I read it. It was exactly what was represented to us by the bank. It was a certain amount of money for a certain percentage for a certain number of years. There's the payment, not going to change, blah, blah. And it was the simplest thing in the world. How could people not understand that? I will never accept it. You could have a brain stem malfunctioning, and still you would be able to figure out those four things.
Yeah, but understand something. When people signed those mortgages, and they knew it was an adjustable, they were assured by their agent, don't worry, the rates are great right now.
God.
And if the rates go up, we'll just refinance before then to get you in at a better rate.
Here's breaking news. And
they bought that because they wanted that house.
And here's breaking news. And I've explained stuff like this to my kids. Mortgage brokers can lie. Loan officers can lie. Real estate agents can lie. Car salesmen can lie.
But it's not a lie if it's potentially true. In other words, some people might have had a chance to refinance, but you know what? It didn't happen for a lot of them. The rates went up too high, too fast.
No, it is a lie because they don't know. You can't make a claim that the prices are going to keep going up. They don't know that. Nobody knew that. They just made that up. And you know what? There's a lot of evil, greedy bastards in the world, and that's what people got suckered in by. But it's still up to you to see through that. Don't trust people. Don't believe in people. All right? When somebody can make a commission, odds are they're not shooting straight. Just remember that. If somebody's getting X percent off your transaction, it means they're going to tell you whatever you want to hear. And you're a moron if you believe them. Thank you.
Here's a stunner. Boy, this goes back a year. San Diego County had Proposition A on the ballot, was supposed to get a 2/3 vote, a new countywide tax to set up a regional fire agency. It failed. It did not get the 2/3. Now here in L.A. County, we got 2/3 to borrow. To increase our sales tax to 8.75% to build the subway to the sea and fund all other sorts of loony mass transit projects. But San Diego County wouldn't pass a property tax increase to get themselves their own fire department for the county.
What's wrong with San Diego?
They're very frugal.
Well, then you know what? When the homes burn, what's all the whining and complaining about? You ought to spend tax money on a fire department.
It got 63%, so it ended up 3-point-whatever percentage short.
You know, this is what's
going to be a $52 annual tax.
This is what's crazy. People here in L.A. increase taxes for some mythical subway system that they'll never use. People down in San Diego who've been whacked twice in recent years by really bad fires, they won't spend a dime on a fire department.
They are now the largest county and are still the largest county in California without its own fire department.
People are just collectively stupid. All right.
The hour of election rage. And in a few cases, we'll take some calls of jubilation or stomping, as we call it.
That's right. Any Obama jubilation.
So far, we got rage.
Let's go to Oscar. Oscar, you're on the John and Ken show.
How's it going?
It's going. So what are you raging about?
Actually, I voted for Prop R. I just heard you talk about that.
Why'd you do that?
Well, listen, you know what? L.A. County population growth, it is just going up the roof, man. So eventually, it needs to get done. We're not going to get to the stage to where we have a population like New York City. There's nowhere to sprawl anymore. We need to address the problems that we have in traffic right now. And I understand that it's borrowing money. Don't get me wrong. I don't agree with
it's going to help very few people. And it's going to be wasted. The MTA wastes more money than any agency known to man. And it puts a terrible burden on businesses who have to compete now with counties who have a lower sales tax.
But that's out of my hands. I cannot do anything.
What do you mean it's out of your hands? No, it was in your hands yesterday, and you screwed up.
I cannot do anything other than if they give me
in other words,
more
subways and mass transit for all the illegal aliens that have jammed up this city. And another
for the road.
Another
burden for the Americans who run businesses in the city. Good job, Oscar.
I would rather have them in a subway where they're not going to hit me when they're driving without insurance.
All right,
So
you call me in 30 years when they've built the subway. We'll see how it changes life here.
8.75%. And by the way, the first chunk of this money is going to go to the Expo Line and the Gold Line subway extension.
What is the Gold Line? What is the Expo Line?
Well, the Gold Line's the one that comes up to Pasadena, I believe, from downtown.
And it's going to go where?
I'm not sure
now?
about the Expo Line.
I don't know whether I've heard of the Expo Line.
But what I'm trying to say is, rest assured, it's going to subways first. It's going to mass transit.
Yeah.
I mean, when they sold this, they showed pictures on TV of freeways. I remember that.
Of course they did.
They talked about something they should have already taken care of, which is positive train controls on Metrolink trains, so those trains automatically stop when they run lights. But no, they never spent that before.
The ads were of freeways?
Yeah, there were pictures of freeways.
Damn them. Damn them. They're such manipulative liars. I hate
giving people the subliminal message that somehow your freeways are going to be improved with this money.
Right, and that's another reason you should have voted against it. And honestly, you know what? You people are just beyond stupid. You know, I feel like pulling the plug. Pull the plug and get everybody off life support. Your brains don't function anymore. You believe any stupid-ass thing that government officials tell you. Why?
This is going to raise about $1.3 billion a year from sales tax money. $40 billion over 30 years.
What if...
Now, you asked a good question last hour of Matt Szabo, who is a spokeshole for the mayor, who is here about the million potholes. And we were talking about how, and you asked him, why don't you just budget for this in the general city budget? Take care of all the road projects. Don't be coming to us to ask us time and time again that to raise taxes for allegedly hiring more police or more firemen, all the public safety issues. Budget for...
He had no answer for that.
L.A. County spends $1 billion on illegal aliens. It is true. And Mike Antonovich, the supervisor, puts out these press releases every few months about how much we spend in welfare and health care for the illegal aliens in the county. It's $1 billion. So I asked this question. If you put that on the ballot, how would it do it? It'd get 2/3? Do you want to spend $1 billion in sales tax money on the illegal aliens?
Yeah, they wouldn't ask for a sales tax increase to fund health and welfare for illegal aliens. But they spend the $1 billion on health and welfare for illegal aliens, and they don't have $1 billion to improve the roads or build a subway.
Exactly
so
what
then
I'm trying
they raise,
to say.
Yeah, I mean, this is
there
what's criminal about this.
There ought to be a revolution.
No, and
Absolutely
everybody goes,
absurd.
oh, it'd be really nice to have a subway. You should have the damn subway already. But we're subsidizing all the illegal aliens from Mexico.
Nearly 25% of L.A. County's welfare and food stamp benefits go directly to the children of illegal aliens. $36 million a month.
We got to take a break.
All right, the hour of election
You
rage.
need to calm down.
What's the hour of rage?
And we'll find a few jubilant calls in there, too. 1-800-5201-KFI.
Jubilation. John and Ken, KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio.
Nowadays, the only thing that doesn't fluctuate is the 50,000 watts of stimulation pounding at your brain.
KFI.
KFI's Big Stories.
Obama gave his victory speech to more than 240,000 cheering supporters last night in Grant Park in Chicago.
Voters in California have approved the proposition to ban gay marriage. The move overturns the state Supreme Court decision in May.
We're on it. KFI.
John and Ken Show, John Cobell and Ken Shampoo, KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio, the hour of rage. And we're also holding a one line open for any jubilation.
And we do have one line right now with a jubilant call if you want to take
Where's
it.
Where's that?
The bottom line.
All right.
6.
All right. Here's our, this is very rare. We've never had a line open for a political jubilation. Isaac, go ahead.
Hey, John and Ken, how are you?
Fine.
Real quick, by the way, I got to give you credit because I've been listening to your show for about 2 years now, and before I used to think you were one of these radio stations that just went along party lines. But towards the end, when you started talking about the flaws of McCain's campaign and how people turned on you, it just gave me more respect for the show. But anyway,
well, we only speak the truth that we see, and in that case, we were right. And if people don't like to hear it, there's nothing I can do about it.
I know it's fresh air because again, when you listen to other stations, they
well, they're propaganda. That's all they are.
Yeah, their guys can't do wrong. But
that's garbage. See, I never listen to shows like that. I never do. They're garbage. They're insulting. They're a waste of my time. I don't understand the proliferation of those kind of shows.
So going back to
you are jubilant, right? You're jubilant.
Yeah, I'm jubilant that Obama won, only because I think it changes the politics as usual. And I think what happened in this case was there was an arrogance of power, and people finally got fed up. You know, Bush ran with this whole country and religion, and all these yahoos out in the South ate it up. Even after there was disaster, then they ate it up again, and finally the people woke up. So I just think it's good that what I'm happy about Obama is that it was a campaign based on inclusion and including everybody. And even, I don't think it's a coincidence that the international response has been what it is. Because before we had Bush, who just said, my way or the highway. And finally you have a guy who's intelligent and who's calm-headed and is not war crazy that hopefully will take us over the bump we're heading for.
Well, we'll see. I think everyone is exhausted from the last 8 years. It's been a really rough 8 years and exhausted by the Bush administration. So let's see what happens.
And from the 9/11 attacks at the beginning to the economy's free fall here at the end.
I mean, this was 8 years.
Sandwiched in with Katrina and the other things.
This was some 8 years that you hadn't seen probably since then.
But I'm not sure that was enough jubilation. Can we bring up Oprah here from her show today?
Oh, no.
Okay. I have 2 words for you, America. Mr. President! During this long campaign, I'd made a vow at the beginning that I would not use my show as a platform, so I kept my mouth shut and supported Barack Obama as a private citizen. And today, though, the election is over, and I'm unleashed!
Oh, jeez.
She's brilliant.
He's brilliant.
She's brilliant.
He's brilliant.
Oh, please.
He is brilliant.
I'm just going to go kill myself.
Is that really her scream at the end there?
Yes, that's a big, fat,
man.
loud woman screaming. That's what you heard there.
See, I wanted to
A
help.
big, fat, bloated balloon of a woman.
Oh, man. That's like somebody, a rabid fan at a football game. It's usually a guy that sounds like that.
See, that's what I feared the most. That moment is what I feared. That's the one thing I was dreading all this time. I was dreading that. Yes, that, exactly that.
Has she been named yet, Terry Ray, to his cabinet or anything?
No.
No, just Rahm Emanuel and a few.
Yes.
Oprah doesn't have a job yet. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to use her jubilation to kick off some more rage. And if Oprah screaming for Obama doesn't get you in rage.
Oh, jeez.
How about impeachment? Can we go back?
Well, I told you. There's already a website that wants to impeach Obama.
Yeah, I know.
They have a whole list of charges against him.
It's going to be a great time for the really right-wing talk radio people because they'll just have ammunition every day and conspiracies and everything else going on.
They're going to go completely into Fruit Loop land now. All right, we got to take a break.
Yes, that's right, but we're going to be right back. We're just going to check in on the news.
I have to go to the bathroom for some reason that screaming like upset my internal digestion. I
reached some sort of high pitch
the room.
there.
Yeah.
I don't know. This seems like it started with the mayor's spokeshole, though.
Why are there dogs gathering around the studio here in Burbank?
Oh, I bet you like dogs are barking all over Southland.
This is the hour of rage.
Put her in a cage.
Election rage, and we're leaving a line open for jubilation. Whatever you want to do, jubilate.
Yeah. Try to out-jubilate that.
Or one of the propositions you're glad passed or failed. 1-800-520-1KFI.
Terry Ray Elmer has the news now. What's going on?
San Francisco City Attorney's Office says it will file a lawsuit against Prop 8.
This is about the definition of equal protection of the law. That is a cornerstone of the California Constitution. It is what separates constitutional democracy from mob rule tyranny.
Matt Dorsey's a spokesman for San Francisco City Attorney Dennis Herrera. He says if Prop 8 stands, it could endanger fundamental rights for any minority in the state. He also says the Constitution cannot be changed by a simple majority. Governor Schwarzenegger wasn't as outspoken as his wife against Prop 8, but he says he did make his voice heard on the measure before the election.
And, I respect now the will of the people. The people have spoken. And that's what it's going to be, and now we're just going to move along.
He says the most important thing now is that lawmakers come together and fix the state's financial problems. That's why he says he's called a special session for tomorrow. Voter turnout was mixed in the Southland.
L.A. County had near record turnout. More than 82% of registered voters cast ballots. That's about 3.5 million people. L.A. County Registrar spokeswoman Grace Chavez says those are just preliminary numbers.
This process still continues until we process all those vote by mail ballots and provisional ballots.
The only election with a higher turnout was when 86% of voters cast ballots in 1968. In Orange County, 53% of voters handed in ballots, way below the 73% turnout in the last presidential election. Jody Becker, KFI News.
Time to check your traffic.
Busy on the 15 southbound coming out of Cajon Pass. You've got a crash as you come down the hill towards Sierra on the 15 freeway southbound. Watch for that. That's going to be slowing you down. There is heavy traffic passing the area of Glen Helen. Still busy on the Ventura Freeway in both directions between the Hollywood, actually between the 5 and the 405. And again, that eastbound drive really starts heavy at Parkway Calabasas. There's been a lot of slowing on the 210 freeway eastbound. It starts heavy at Lake, but it's only busy over toward the 605, and it's opening up now on the other side of the 605 freeway. Meanwhile, the 60 is getting worse in both directions. A lot of heavy traffic now in both directions on the 60 freeway between Azusa and the 605. Mike Nolan, KFI Traffic.
KFI News time is 6:32. Some California Republicans say the election could have gone their way, but
the voters sent a clear message.
We've paid the price at the voting booth all across the country for failure of Republican leadership.
State Insurance Commissioner Steve Poizner didn't mince words when he told me he thinks his party's out of control.
The fact is, over the last 10 years, Republicans have been at the helm in Washington, D.C. when spending has gotten out of control, where there's been earmark abuse. And that's a crystal clear lesson that Republicans need to learn.
Congressman Dana Rohrabacher is equally as critical.
I think Ronald Reagan would be rolling over in his grave if he realized that George Bush, his vice president, and his son have managed to turn over our country to someone as far left as Obama, who will take us down exactly the opposite road that Ronald Reagan was trying to direct our country towards.
Rohrabacher says if Republicans want to gain control again someday, they'll have to tone down the egos.
Obviously, the people have rejected McCain. I don't believe they've rejected Republicans.
In Irvine, Steve Gregory, KFI News.
Southland weather from KFI, partly cloudy and windy the rest of the day. Clear overnight with lows in the 50s. Sunny and windy tomorrow. 66 degrees in Burbank. The Dow is down 486 points. The S&P 500 was down 53. I'm Terry Ray Elmer in the KFI newsroom.
KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio. It's the John and Ken Show, our hour of election rage, and we also are holding a line open for jubilation. We just had an open. You're not going to do this. Don't. That just physically drains me. I can't take Oprah screaming and screaming and screaming.
Personally, we were enraged because I didn't expect it that Prop R here in L.A. County, the MTA sales tax initiative that needed 2/3, passed. I was stunned. I just thought that's a lot to ask, especially during tough economic times. And, of course, your pal, Zev Yaroslavsky, was just salivating over this and said, can you believe it? During tough economic times, we got this. This was like his brainchild.
And that's not going to make things tougher? Seriously, do you want to be a car dealer in L.A. County? And now the price of your car just went up?
Tens of thousands of dollars for a car.
Honest to God. I mean, Zev, why don't you take a knife and just shove it in the back of every car dealer in L.A. County? You know, GM is down 45% year to year. Chrysler is down 35%. Every car maker is down. Almost all of them in double digits. Some of them historically. I mean, you imagine losing almost half your business. And what does L.A. County do? Raises the sales tax. It's astonishing. And people voluntarily go out and, take more of my money. Please take more of my money. And the thing is, the really nutty thing is, the sales tax hurts the poor more than it hurts the rich. Because it's the same tax on everyone. So it disproportionately hurts poor people. It's amazing how stupid. And you really think they're going to build these damn subways and it's going to change the traffic? You really think you're going to use them? You really think they're going to come in at the cost they claim they are?
The MTA has full authority over this money. Don't be surprised if it's not spent where you think it's going to be spent.
And what, you got fooled by the video of the freeways? Boy, I'm telling you, the real business in life is to be a government or to be a television evangelist and just go on TV and lie to people and just laugh as the money pours in because they're so easily fooled. A bunch of goats in Kenya would have figured this out.
Well, James on line 3 voted for Measure R because you asked if anybody would come on.
Why did you do that, James?
Why?
Yeah.
Because I drive L.A. every day.
What way?
You driving a car?
No, I drive a work truck. It's 12 miles a gallon. I got less people on the road. I save money myself. You're talking for a $30,000 vehicle. You're talking $150 more in tax.
Yeah, and
you can't afford $150. You shouldn't buy the vehicle.
And when do you think this magical day is going to come with a lot less people on the road because you voted yes?
Well, I'm only 25, so I got plenty of time.
Yeah, it's the trouble. Years? You're only 25. You don't know how many subways they've built. They've built plenty of subways and plenty of mass transit, and the traffic has only gotten worse and worse and worse because the people who take the mass transit are just the illegal aliens and other poor people who can't afford a car.
This started
people with cars don't take mass transit.
Less people to crash into me on the freeway then.
There aren't going to be less people. That's what you're
expecting magic. No, did you know the subway project started when dead Tom Bradley was mayor? Did you know that, James?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 40 years ago.
Well,
and how much subway
take time to build?
And we have
So in 40 years, you'll be 65 and retiring if you expect anything.
I guarantee you will be retired.
In California, I will be retiring at 65.
Well, let me just tell you this. History has shown that the MTA wastes a lot of money. Their projects are way behind schedule, and they benefit very few people. Because if you have a car to get around L.A., you still need to use that car every day. If you are an illegal alien or dirt poor and you have a very narrow track to work and back, you know who's going to take the subway to the sea thing on Wilshire Boulevard? It's going to be all the illegal alien nannies who live on the east side of L.A., and they're going to go to work on the west side for all the wealthy people. That's who's going to take this.
I'm saying the chance, $150 on $10,000 on every $30,000 is nothing to take the chance to clear up some of the congestion I have to deal with every day.
You know what? People will go to the next county to save that money. They will. That's the way economics works. You'll see. Thanks. Every time you raise taxes, you get less money than you think. You raise sales taxes, then people buy less.
Oh, this is a jolt. You're talking near 9% sales tax. And if Schwarzenegger gets his way, he still wants to throw another % on that because of our budget problems. Can you imagine paying
9.75%?
Almost 10%.
10%.
If you live in L.A. County.
Why would you open up a high-end business, right, when the sales tax is 10% in L.A. County, when you could go to another county and it's 7.25% or 8.25%? Why would you do this? I mean, this is crazy. And it's not just the extra $150, whatever he said is on a car. It's that people only have so much money to spend. And the more they spend on sales tax, the less they have left over to spend on something else. See, what this kid doesn't understand is $150, let's say, is taken from me or anyone else. That's $150 I have less to spend on anything I want.
Which multiplied by all the people that are out that $150. I mean, 10 million people live in the county.
What's something you could buy for $150? I mean, I don't shop for much, but you know, let's say 3 tickets at a Dodgers game, right? If I've spent that $150 in taxes, I don't have that $150 to go see the ball game. I don't have that $150 to buy. Maybe I wanted to buy steak for a barbecue, and you settle for hamburger. Maybe my wife doesn't buy a pair of shoes. Whatever $150 buys, you don't buy it because now you spent it on the tax. So less things are purchased. It's not that if you're buying a car, yeah, you could spend the $150. That $150 is then not available to buy something else.
You're right. You drain people from their own disposable income.
But there's $150
less.
less.
That usually hurts the economy.
You know, maybe you don't buy your kids as much for Christmas. You don't buy them as much for their back-to-school items. You say, you know what, $150 is missing. You guys are going to have to wear hand-me-downs this year. And you multiply that by everybody. Everybody's now affected by that sales tax. And everybody at the end of their paycheck period, end of the month, end of the year, has that much less money. And when the money's not there, then you stop buying things. And we already have that happening. We have that happening like it's never happened in our lifetimes. People are buying less at this moment than they have in decades. I saw one thing where, like, purchasing was back to where it was in 1980. The last thing you do is raise taxes. You're a moron. Zev Yaroslavsky is one of the all-time big moron politicians.
Does this take effect immediately, or is it like January? I didn't even get that part of it.
I don't know.
This is horrible. It's a stunner to me.
I'm amazed. I had no belief that 2/3 of Los Angeles County in this economic crisis would do this. People are, the vote should be taken away. You should have your vote taken away if you voted for Measure R. Because now you've helped affect the economy. You stand around stomping your feet about all the Wall Street goons and the government goons and this and that. Well, you've just given the economy in L.A. County a kick in the gut. That's $1.3 billion every year that's not going to be spent on stuff at L.A. County businesses because that $1.3 billion is now assigned to the extra tax. Do you see how that works? $1.3 billion sucked out of the economy. $1.3 billion worth of goods and services that will not be spent next year. You tell that to the business owners who are already suffering from this terrible recession. You tell them now that collectively they got $1.3 billion less. Dumb, 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 stupid. And subways are used by people who generally don't own cars. They're used by illegal aliens and poor people. People with cars who have lives and families never, ever use subways except on a lark once in a while. It's impossible because the subways don't take you all the places you need to go in your life. They're very narrow routes. You have to be exactly here and live exactly there, and still you've got to walk and you got to park your car and all this other garbage.
They seem like a novelty. The only thing I think helps people is the blue line, which goes from Long Beach to downtown L.A., where people work. But that red line, we took that a couple of times. We took that as a novelty one time to go to, Langer's Deli?
Yeah. You tell me why they've added all these subways over the last 30 years. Why is the traffic worse? Because the subways don't provide any service for most people who are adults with families, own homes, and have real jobs.
And it was free for a long time, the subways. And then it was honor systems. Now they're putting in turns.
Astonishingly stupid.
All right, we got more calls. Rage and jubilation this hour.
John and Ken on KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio. Let's take Cheryl here.
Hello, how are you? Hello?
This sounds like jubilation.
I'm not feeling good.
Oh, hey, I got one. Are you ready? I'm so happy for Prop 8. Can I give my special greeting?
Sure.
You're happy that gay marriage has been banned?
Yes. Howdy, thank you, America, for Prop 8.
That's especially cruel.
That's almost as worse as bad as Oprah.
You don't know how much sadness and torment you've brought to a lot of lives. Good.
But I'm so happy we got it. We needed to get yes on Prop 8.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people were hit pretty hard emotionally by that, and all they want to do is love their partner and marry their partner, and it's not going to harm you at all. So you know, I think you coming in here and doing your yabba dabba do is especially cruel.
No,
you got a pretty dark, cold soul,
like
lady.
Minnie Pearl.
No, they could do what they want behind bedroom doors, but don't spawn in front of me.
They aren't getting married in front of you.
They're
on
TV.
What's that?
I don't agree with that. I think yes on Prop 8.
It's none of your. You know what? It's none of your business, Cheryl. But
no, you got 18,000.
Not going to waste my time talking to you.
18,000 couples now. They don't know what is that. Those marriages are undone.
It's just cruel and mean and unnecessary. They were really happy. You saw how joyful they were getting married. It meant a lot to them. And now the state comes in. Other people come in and take it away. Why? What have you accomplished here? What have you accomplished here?
Yeah, but you didn't like looking at the old lesbians on TV, did you?
No, but I don't want to take away their marriage. I don't want to. I mean, that's just mean. That's unnecessarily nasty.
It was narrow, that vote. All right, we'll take more of your calls coming up. What we're doing is a combination hour. Election rage and some calls of jubilation. You just heard one woman who's very excited that Prop 8 passed by the narrowest of margins. 1-800-5201-KFI.
Where'd that call come from? Arkansas? John and Ken, KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio.
The more you listen, the more you know.
KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio. KFI.
The John and Ken Show, John Cobalt and Ken Champeau on KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio.
Just an update on something we've been talking about. Measure R passed in L.A. County, amazingly. It got more than two-thirds vote, barely. What it means is you're going to have to pay 8.75% sales tax in L.A. County for the next 30 years, or at least that increase will stay on there. I'm sure the sales tax will go up over 30 years.
Oh, it'll be like 22.25.
Yeah, what would it be in the year 2038? I wonder. Anyway, John was saying, well, then buy a car outside the county, and we've gotten emails from people who say, well, that may not be the trick because wherever your home address is, that's the tax you're going to have to pay. Some people are saying
and somehow the state catches up to you and makes you pay the extra tax.
One guy says there's a link to the state website which says that all cars purchased in California are taxed at the state sales tax rate of 7.25%.
Well, I'll look at that link.
Yeah, we'll look at it.
We'll come back tomorrow and clarify it.
We'll give you our judgment.
I may have been wrong. I'd never heard of such a thing. I do know that outside of cars, people do make decisions.
There are other major purchases made in the county.
By going to other counties.
Buy an appliance or...
People cross state lines to avoid taxes. People buy stuff on the internet to avoid taxes. So, 8.75% is getting near the highest local tax rate in the nation. I don't know why people do that to themselves.
They did it without batting an eye.
And again, what Ken said before, we're spending over $1 billion a year in L.A. County just on illegal alien health and welfare. Now, why isn't that $1 billion used to build a subway if you're going to have a subway?
And why isn't that billion for the illegals on the ballot?
Yeah, and that's
well, we have to. Otherwise, it's a federal mandate, and blah. You have to give health care.
And the reason you need, quote, more subways is because of all the illegal aliens. And they're the ones who are going to be taking the subways anyway. This is a subsidization of an alien culture that has invaded our little pocket of America here. And we have politicians, instead of mounting an offense to drive the illegals back to the home country, they instead come up with all kinds of schemes to service the people.
And they turn around and come to us to make us pay extra taxes for the basics.
All right, let's go to we got to talk about this further too tomorrow. This is just outrageous. Sean, we're also opening up jubilation lines for people who are happy about anything from yesterday. Sean, you're on.
Hey, what's up, John? I'm ecstatic today. Hey, quick note before I give you my story. I saw your favorite mayor at a concert with about 9,000 or 10,000 black people. Frankie Beverly and Mays concert. They brought him up on stage and they booed him.
Tony Villar?
Tony Villar. They brought him up on stage, and Frankie said, "Let's give a shout out to the mayor." Boo!
Come on.
Then he said, "Come on now, get over for the mayor." You could have heard a pin drop.
He's got that problem.
What's the name of this guy, this performer? Frankie who?
Frankie Beverly and Mays. Come on now, I know you heard of him.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm not going to lie. I haven't.
We're just white
Wow.
guys.
So, yeah, you know, anyway, I called last week about my idiotic neighbor that stood in my Obama Biden sign. So I had a party last night, and I handed out bullhorn. So we all chanted, Obama, Obama, go Obama when he won. So my neighbor looked like somebody had died. I don't know why in the hell that you've had white presidents for all throughout eternity. Nobody's throwing a fit. Today it looks like everybody just want to go out and shoot themselves. I wish they would get Rush Limbaugh. I wish they would go ahead and get that idiot. You can have that other talk show idiot over there. You can take him and all the rest of them. But we were watching McCain concession speech, which I thought was great. But it looked like everybody in the crowd want to just die. Is it that bad? You got an educated black man who's a family man with an educated wife, the kids, and what do? You know what I mean? So let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance.
All right, Sean. Thanks very much.
The question is,
how
how long will the honeymoon be for Obama?
Unless he does something spectacularly ridiculous, and I think he has a lot more restraint than Bill Clinton, then I think the honeymoon's going to go off for a while.
I think he's going to be too restrained, and I've heard some say maybe he's too passive. And you go back to those voting not present when he was in the Illinois legislature.
I think part of that is he didn't want to give himself a record.
Even then, he knew that someday he might be running for this office. He was already laying the tracks as to not be traced to some key issue.
All right, we'll see. We got Brian Suits, Kennedy and Suits coming up in minutes.
We have a worldwide reaction montage here at the top of the hour, plus
yodeling, bull slang.
How about those goats getting killed in Kenya?
It's a sad day for goats.
John, the big testicled goat.
And
but finally, the French are happy, so we can all
great.
Rest
yeah,
nice.
If you're one of those people that cares, the rest of the world officially likes us now. So if you're a Sally Field American, great news. So we'll hit you up too.
All right. Do the Muslims like us now?
Oh yeah, because we just elected one.
All right. All right. We got Kennedy and Suits coming up. Who's doing the news? I've not been notified. Aaron Bender's doing the news. All right, he's up next. See you tomorrow at 3. John and Ken, KFI AM640, more stimulating talk radio.
Wednesday, November 5th.
KFI.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
News on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks.
64 KFI.
Moving on. I'm Aaron Bender. This is the 7 o'clock news on KFI. President-elect Barack Obama is getting ready for the transition into the White House. He's reportedly asked Illinois Congressman Rahm Emanuel to be his chief of staff. Emanuel wouldn't confirm any offer.
I got a lot to weigh. My commitment to my country, my commitment to public service and why I got into this, as well as my commitment to my family and what I want to do as a parent.
Obama has hundreds of jobs to fill and only 10 weeks until Inauguration Day. He has said during the campaign there will be no place for lobbyists in his administration. Analysts say Obama will take a different style of foreign policy to the White House. Stephen Flanagan with the Center for Strategic and International Studies says relations